Matt Benson. I'm here to talk to you today about one of the most versatile methods in bass fishing, the drop shot. Let's go ahead. I'm going to show you what you guys need to make the most effective use of this presentation. So for the rod, you're going to need between a 6 and a 6.5 foot medium light action. I like something like, once again, I like that soft tip, but something with a nice heavy backbone. For the reel, I always like to go with a 1500 series. It's very light and it'll hold enough line to easily handle this method. When you get started in the drop shot method, one of the things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use braided line. I always like to use 8-pound test. The reason why is 1 pound test diameter. It's super smooth. It gives you great sensitivity. I'm going to give you a quick tip. Before you rig up your braid, you should add backing to it. The reason why is backing takes up most of your spool and it'll actually save you money. So now a 300-yard spool of braid will actually probably get you 4 or 5 spools of line. Once you get your braid put on your reel, the next step is you're going to need to tie up a leader material. Now, I always like to use fluorocarbon. Once again, I use 8-pound test. I like to use in between a 6 to 10 foot leader. The reason why I like to use a long leader is because you're going to break off sometimes throughout the day, and it just makes it easier to retie. All right, now the best way to attach the braid to the fluorocarbon leader is to use a uni knot. Very easy, can be easily found online. All right, I'm going to show you now what you're going to need to tie up a drop shot rig to be effective. So I like to use #1 size Gamakatsus. I also like to use usually a 3 or 4 inch minnow presentation. Once again, I always like to use natural colors when I'm fishing clear water. If I'm fishing more dirty water, then I'll go with a darker silhouetted presentation. And this is also another method. I'll sometimes even throw on a Senko on there, and I'll show you that later in the video. And then for weights, I use these 1/4 ounce drop shot weights. And the one nice thing with these is they got a little spinner in there, so it prevents a lot of line twist. But another tip, when you're using that braid, how I showed you how to earlier to tie, you will have greatly reduced line twist because there's no memory in braided fishing line. So I'm going to show you how to tie up the rig. It's a very simple method. You're going to use a knot called a polymer knot. So you get your leader material, you get your hook, and you always want to go through the front side of the hook. So you're going to go in the front side, half hitch around, then you're going to put the hook back through. Always wet the knot with fluorocarbon because what will happen is it'll burn on itself and it'll create a weak point. Now you notice this tag line is so much longer than when you tie a regular lure on. What you're going to do with this is, once again, you always want to go through the front side of that eye. So we're going to put the line back through there. And now you can see the hook stands almost perfectly straight out. So now when the fish grabs that, he should get that in his mouth every time. So we got our tag end here, and the one nice thing with these weights is you don't even have to tie the line on. All you really do is you just put the line right through this little hole. And the one unique thing about these is they got a little clip, so you can actually adjust the depth. So we got it right here, so we're about a foot off bottom, but say we find we want to go closer, all we have to do is just pop that line out of there, pop it in again, and now we're down to about 6 inches. So that's one real unique thing about these weights. Now to rig the bait, I take it, and I always like to go straight down through his head and back up. So when you're fishing this on bottom, it should look like this. So it's in front of the fish's face, and you're shaking that. That tail should be dancing all the time. Like I said, once again, this method is perfect for anywhere from 1 foot all the way up to 30 or 40 feet of water. It can be fished in rocks, it can be fished in reeds. It doesn't matter what the conditions are or what the structure is, you can always use a drop shot to put more fish in your boat.